Hey, morning guys. That's Eddie. Just walking and thinking, and I wanted to put this on tape because things get lost in text and tone gets lost and things get, all the nonverbal gets lost. Just thinking about shutdown and immunity and vaccines and isolation and herd immunity and all those things, right? And thinking what's the best course of action. And there's really two schools of thought that it's high risk to go out, high risk to risk contact. I just want to show you guys this because it's super pretty. There's lots of animal sounds. I mean, there's lots of reasons to want to stay home right now, right? I love working at home. I love having more time out here in nature. I spend way more time now with my daughter. That's priceless. So many, I have time to read and write and think and create, and I have space to do those things. There's a million reasons to want to stay home and want to stay socially distant, and in all honesty, that's been my lifestyle for years. But the virus does not make me want to stay home. I'm not afraid of a virus, and maybe that's naivety, but one thing that just keeps popping in my head is that vaccines are really, they're in the last century that we've had vaccines, and humans have been around considerably longer, right? So what's kept us alive? It's not the vaccine, it's herd immunity. It's being connected, and my other thought on that is how I got vaccinated against chickenpox. Back then we didn't get a shot for chickenpox. My oldest sister was 4 years older than me. My next sister was 2 years older than me. My oldest sister got chickenpox, and so my mom took me and my other sister and put us all in the same room until we all had chickenpox. And then she treated 3 kids at the same time instead of 1 and never dealt with chickenpox again. And guess what? We had immunity. And I understand death rates and death tolls, but if you're not asking yourself the question of why are they inflating the death rate, why are they inflating the death toll, I mean, that has to, right? And the point of all this is just to kind of spark thinking, spark brain. The angrier we are, the more afraid we are, the stupider we are, literally, right? I mean, that's one of the first things you learn in psychology and counseling and mental health and police work, is that the angrier, the more emotional, the more escalated a person is, the less their brain works. The more afraid they have you, the less your brain works. So go take a walk, disconnect, figure out whether or not we should really be afraid or what we should be afraid of. I mean, here's the flip side to it. If we all remain isolated for a couple months, no exposure, nobody gets this virus, what does that do to our long-term immunity? The idea that we're all supposed to sit isolated and wait for a vaccine, I'm sorry, but that's stupid. That's stupid. That defies all logic, that defies all common sense. By the time they create an effective vaccine, 1, the virus will mutate, and 2, all of our immune systems will be dead because we've been isolating ourselves and washing constantly and using bacteria, antibacteria that kills good bacteria and bad bacteria, and our ability to keep ourselves safe will be gone, and we'll be fully dependent on vaccines and antibodies being injected into us because our bodies won't create them anymore. So, sorry, that's gross, but it's real. Man, I mean, I don't know, at the end of it all, I come back to there's always risk. There's inherent risk in life. And sometimes we just have to weigh our choices and make a direction and move, The one thing I've learned in my life is that the absolute worst thing you can do is stay stagnant and not make a decision. Sometimes you just got to make a call and go and realize that there's gonna be negative effects to any decision you make. So you just gotta weigh the best data you can and make a decision. And the less emotion that goes into that decision, usually the better. Those are my thoughts this morning. So happy Tuesday.